Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing amazing. We are back with another amazing video. We are going to use Adobe Illustrator and we are specifically going to use the 3D tool in Adobe Illustrator. And I really want to take you guys through how I use that tool to make weird 3D shapes. If you saw my previous video, I used that a lot to make my zine. But today we are going to just focus on that, really go into detail, especially starting with the process of making the 3D object in Illustrator and then taking that to, let's say, Photoshop and actually playing around with certain filters to create even weird things out of that. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's go. I remember the very first time I really experimented with the Illustrator 3D tool was when I was participating in the 36 Days of Type challenge. I personally really like designing a poster every day or doing typography every day. It personally really pushes me to find new ways to create something visually appealing and something that I'm really proud of. I typed out the letter B, I made it into 3D and I wrapped up the texture of the letter B on top of it, and then I tried to create this parallax effect in Premiere Pro. And the fact that I could wrap things around a 3D object really changed the way I looked at Illustrator. So I made this back in 2020, and after 5 years, we are going to try to recreate it and maybe try to make it better. We'll start off with B. I'm going to write here B. B? Okay. Now I want to choose an interesting font that we can experiment with, that has a lot of personality. This looks good. Okay. And what if this is all caps? Okay, this is nice. So while I'm showing you how I do all of that, I'm going to take you through the tool also. So let's start with this first B. So the first thing is you click on your object and go to Effect and click on 3D and Materials, and you can click on Extrude and Bevel. Once you do that, your object basically turns into a 3D object, right? Now, to have a better viewing experience, let's just change the color from black to, let's say, blue. Okay, amazing. So you can see that we already have a nice 3D object. Now, this menu usually opens up. Now, this menu has 3 sub-menus, which is Object, Materials, and Lighting. We will start with the Object one. Now, obviously, you can click on Plane. So what this does is it gives you just your letter in a 3D axis. This may be useful for you, but it's not for us right now. So if you click on Extrude, it gives you a better, it gives you a lot more options, and you can revolve it and you can inflate it. So this inflation thing looks very cool. It makes it look like a balloon. So yeah, I personally want to just stick to Extrude. And over here, what we can do is we can add some depth to create something like this. We can twist it. This is a very interesting tool. Also, you can actually twist it as much as you want to. And the last one is this tool. What this does is just converges your depth of the 3D object. And I can actually click on inflate, so it inflates the top part. It doesn't look that bad actually. You can experiment with something, which is the materials. Now over here, if you click on material, you have a lot of standard materials that Adobe has provided. You can they don't really look that good. You have to really play around with the parameters just to get the right feeling and texture. But honestly, if you play around with it enough, you can get something that really works. But for example, this looks amazing. I personally don't like the twist now, so I'm going to just remove it. The depth, let's keep it something like this. Actually, it looks really nice inflated. Add this texture, which is the Oxford fabric. Basically makes it look like a fabric, which is even better. And yeah, and we can play around with the resolution a bit. Okay, this looks nice. You can see what a nice effect we're getting. And then we can, if you want to repeat it more, I think this is fine. I'm going to change the color of this to, let's go with a very nice sharp blue. Okay, I like this. And then we can play around with different things like the roughness of it and the metallic feel of it. I really like this. This looks nice. Very powerful. And let's go down and let's play with, make it more metallic. And the position looks good. Okay, this is interesting. And then you have the option of graphic. So this is the panel that I used before to create that bee which was wrapped in bees. So for example, I'm gonna create a bunch of random texture. For example, this is my texture, and let's make it green, and let's change the stroke to something like this. Okay, and what I can do is I can literally drag and drop this into the graphics. Now it is a graphic over here. Now how this works is I'll click on my object the same way I clicked on a material and it changed to that material, right? I'll go on the graphics section and I'll actually click on the graphics panel, click on the object. Now this will be wrapped on our 3D object. Very interesting. And if I click on the graphic over here in the properties, I can play around with it and put it wherever I want to. You click on the lighting. Now you have some standard preset, which is standard, which we are on right now. Diffuse, top left and right. I personally really like the top left one. So this is our first 3D object, and I think this looks beautiful. Now the last part is you can click on your object. In this 3D and material section, you can see on the very right corner there is this button which is render with ray tracing. So you can click on the right corner of it, click on ray tracing, make the quality high, reduce noise, and click on render. Once you do that, it will take some time and it will give you a beautiful 3D render. So we will make a new document. Let's make it Instagram size. Let's go with this one. Let's put our smart object in the middle. So once we have our object in Photoshop, we can apply like different filters on top of it to get like a more interesting feel. And I personally like to just add like a nice diffuse glow on top of it sometimes, just to kind of make it have like this nice dreamy feel. And usually like when people look at this, they're like, did you make this in Blender? And I'm like, I guess we'll never know. But look at this looks beautiful. I'm gonna look into some nice references on Pinterest of like these dreamy posters. We can kind of really curate it. We have a sky kind of vibe going on. Okay, let's take an image of a sky. Let's go to pixels and let's go to sky. Take like a nice sky. I want something vertical, so let's see if we can just get something vertical directly. Ooh, this looks good. Let's copy this. Let's see what vibe does this give. Ooh, this looks beautiful. I think I don't want the moon here, but yeah, this looks good. Let's see if we add the same effect on top of it. How does that look? Okay, this looks good. Amazing. I want to kind of glow amount. I want to decrease it a bit so it doesn't look too intense. If we pair it up with like some nice typography, so let's see what other people are doing in this kind of aesthetic. Okay, so I found this amazing poster by Take That, someone that I also follow on Instagram. This part of like graphic design where they create like such nice elements that if you think about it, you're like, okay, that's just such a small design element, but bringing that together to a composition is a real skill. And I think, for example, I found this element and I want to test how does it look. So I usually just copy it and I just play around with like the screen button just to see, okay, what does it add, and it looks beautiful. Okay, so this is our final poster. Let me just take you through some of the details. I think I added this part. Actually, I took this from the UI of the 3D panel that opens up in Illustrator, and I actually kind of extracted the black part and actually made this like this, so it comes over here, designed and visualized by Arif Tariq, just to create an element on the left. In the middle, I added the non 3D version of the text B with the font Alinsa Fat, and then on the right side I added this. And as you can see, it is blending beautifully. I added like a subtle light leak in the corner, and yeah, 3D we created in Illustrator and curated in Photoshop. I think this came out absolutely beautiful and I'm really happy with this. And I just want to say thank you guys for watching my video, and I will see you guys next week. But before we go, I want to shout out two people. So in my Slack I shared the bee with my community, and I was like, if you guys want to do something, so I would love to see. So this is what Samiola made. This is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, he kind of took the same thing and created his own version of it, and I like the whole glass effect and the textures on this. So shout out to Samiola, this is his Instagram. And there was one that was made by Sumit. Let me pull that up also. Oh, this is the one. This is super weird and experimental how he took this artwork and like created this dynamic weird thing out of the thing. So now B is actually adding as like a design element rather than typography. So yeah, I'm glad how everything is, you know, coming together. But either way guys, thank you guys for watching. I'm just gonna wrap up this video. I mean, when you're watching it, the video is wrapped up. Either way, thank you so much. I'll see you very soon. Allah Hafiz.